Yeah, right, okay. You should be getting a picture back now. Sorry about that. The program crashed. And it happens if you try to queue up footage and move it back and forth. So I can't do that. Let's just avoid doing that. But the point, I think, was made by the fact that you could see in the formation that there were walk lines. Now, walk lines are very evident markers that somebody had to use a scribe technique in order to scribe these lines in before they then go putting the circles in. So I would just draw your attention to that. Now the third thing, I hope you're all seeing us now and tuned back in. So let us know in channel if you can see us again. Yeah, it's all okay. Don't know what I'll do for my recording, which I have on my hard drive. That's probably balls that up, but there we go. Let's have a look at the third piece of formation, not formation, footage. Here you go.
And towards the end of the season, you know, you get these works of art. So somebody's handed me this and said, oh, would you go and make this design? And I said, look, you know, I mean, you know that somebody means a pyramid and rays of light. It's too obvious.
In the field.
It's too representational. You need to be more obtuse. You need to make the triangle more symmetrical. And you might as well write in the crop the word pyramid.
So this is a formation I showed to a documentary crew before it appeared in the field. And lo and behold, then appeared in the field.
By mid-July, the croppies have descended on Wessex, attracted in part by the first of 3 annual Crop Circle conferences.
And guess what? It appears on the Crop Circle Conference of Wiltshire Crop Circle Study Group. And it appears on there. Now let me just put. Right then, I hope you had audio from the video. Now I'll explain the video again. You probably didn't have audio there. I think you do have audio now. Sorry about that. It's because the program crashed. I had to completely restart the program, and that's why there was no audio. Now I'll explain to you what you just saw. The video footage was showing a formation that had appeared in the East Field, I think it was. I actually showed the diagram of that formation to the documentary film crew makers, and it was known that that was a man-made formation. Francine Blake chose to show that formation as the title photo for her Crop Circle conference, and then she goes on to say this afterwards.
Darthy's got no video.
Darthy's got no video? You should have video of one of us. Right, okay.
No sound, Kerno's saying.
No sound. The sound should be coming through.
No video for Kerno.
No video, no sound. Okay, has anybody got... Oh, can anybody confirm we're actually broadcasting at this point? It crashed, by the way, whilst we were at the room. I did the thing I said I was not supposed to do and press the button to try and queue up footage, and it crashed in the middle of the show. So that's the first time we've had a crash like that. So can you actually see us? Yes, we're back now. Yes, people are saying they do have video and sound. Right. Okay, this piece of footage we just showed, I'm going to show it again because I'll speak over the top. Here we go. We'll just run it again.
Towards the end of the season, you know, you get these works of art. So somebody's handed me this and said, oh, would you go and make this design? And I said, look, you know, I mean, you know that somebody means a
this was shown to the documentary crew.
It's too obvious.
It's
too representational. You need to be more obtuse. You need to make the triangle more symmetrical.
Somebody
you might as well write in the crop the word pyramid.
Okay, and this is then the formation that appeared in the East Field. Slightly different because the original had a dragon hanging off the top for some reason.
The croppies have descended on Wessex, attracted in part by the first of 3 annual Crop Circle conferences.
And then it appears on the poster of the Wiltshire Crop Circle Study Group as they're advertising for the Wiltshire Crop Circle Study Group.
It's a very big subject. I don't know where it's coming from.
She doesn't know where it's coming from, she says.
It is from a high level of consciousness. And that
it's coming from a higher level of consciousness. But there you go.
I know that
they were advertising. They were advertising their conference with a diagram which I had given to a documentary company that were making the Circle Speak documentary, and there's absolutely no way it can be said that was, that was faked up. That documentary crew interviewed me on a set date, then they'd appeared in the field, and Francine Blake's group, bang to rights, was saying that was definitely something weird, because they're obviously not going to put a man-made formation on their posters, are they? Or are they? Or is it like I said earlier on? Francine Blake has on a couple of occasions spoken to farmers, and they said, no, that was paid for. We knew that was a paid for formation. Yep, the lesbian wedding thing. They went in there, they danced around, they had their lesbian wedding, and it was all paid for, and that's wonderful. And she went back to her conference in Devizes, and I guarantee you, she said to the people in the audience, I know of no information to say that this was anything other than alien. And she just spoken to the farmer an hour or so previous. They tried to take these things back. They say, no, you're not having them. If it's man-made, we're definitely going to make sure people think it's alien now. Fuck you. That's the way they behave, these Circle researchers. And that is the video evidence to actually prove it. So this is what we've been talking about tonight. And the Circle Speak documentary, you should get it. It's very cheap. I don't make any money. Yeah, here you go. Ooh, hang on. You do say again.
Yeah, it's a very informative DVD, which I do recommend myself, as Matthew said. It's worth the money.
I mean, it's only about £10 UK.
It's one of the few documentaries which is kind of non-biased, which is very, very good. It's nicely done, well presented.
Speaks to both sides, and yeah,
exactly right.
Definitely worth a look. So there we go. Right, we've got Andrew back in the studio now. Just popped out for a little break, and it is a marathon show, so we do need a little break here and there. Right, somebody mentioned something earlier on. Hedgedread said, would we pack up if researchers packed up? So if the researchers became disheartened and packed up, would the Circle Makers pack up if there was no researchers to kind of photograph and talk about the subject in the way they do? I mean, what do you think?
I don't think that's the case. I think, yes, I think it's, I mean, from the point of view of investigating further into the sort of, my special interest now, it will now become, is the entity side. So, but of course, my belief is that obviously that this entity is attracted by the formations, so that might sort of reduce that side of it a little bit. But I would still come here because I still believe that this area holds something special. There is something about this area which obviously from past history, there's the whole thing now seems to coincide. So all there's like we have the stone circles, we have Stonehenge, and so on. So I think I would still continue to sort of investigate. We'll still come here during the summers. I'll still spend the nights here, even just out of curiosity to see if anything will materialise.
Great. Well, we've got this running thing that somebody seems to have started now. They want to know what's your favourite cheese, so I better ask you what your favourite cheese is. I suppose they do these things to kind of like
simple
lighten.
Cheddar.
Simple cheddar.
Simple things in life.
Yeah, we go.
Fine.
So I hope that makes you happy in channel now. Right. Darthy says, it seems like Andrew seems like the right type of researcher, so that you seem on the right track. So there's some sort of positive comments about what you've been talking about tonight. Right. What would you like to talk about, Andrew? I mean, we're sort of getting to the point now where we could take it in various different directions. You started off with you being a believer, and now you're a sort of a human-made, but definitely with the belief in the paranormal. Where would you like to take the sort of the chat now? What do you think is the future then? You mentioned a little bit about it, but where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? Do you think
10 years' time?
Poorer?
Probably, yes. That's for sure, because as I said, when you are on the side of the belief that you're obviously the believer, incredible how people just seem to sort of donate money to you. And I admit I've received donations. I don't, there is a donate button on my website, but I don't specifically go and push for it. But when I was a believer, yes, people used to chuck in a £10, a £20. It helped with the fuel expenses. So, but now, because it's gone to the other side now, all of a sudden those sort of things stop. because people think, well, why should I donate to somebody who is kind of so-called debunking or being a disinformant? It's nonsense. This is just straightforward research, which it has to be called that, because what other thing could you call it? If people want answers, this is what we're doing. We're going out and getting answers. But yes, you're quite right, Matthew, because people stop sort of helping, then you do become poorer, because at the end of the day, there's no money coming in. So you've got to, if you have that interest still yourself, it has to come out of your own pocket. And at the present moment, there is obviously, I'm not pleading poverty, but at the end of the day, there's, we still have to fund it. We still have to come here. We still have to buy necessary equipment. Yes. Most of it is camera equipment, which is quite expensive.
Yes.
And
especially when Circlemakers.
And we do this for free of charge. We don't charge anybody. We don't ask for any subscription fees. We do it because we enjoy what we do. We enjoy the actual aspect of the phenomena. We do it because we want to know the answers ourselves. We want to find out. We want to find out a little bit further, a bit deeper to what is really going on. But sadly, as I said, people do look at you as the disinformant, the debunker, all those sort of words associated to it, which is a bit of a shame, because it puts people off from researching, from finding out the real depth, the real reason behind these certain things. Yeah. How many makers have sort of basically said, we've seen dark figures in the fields.
Yes.
I have one picture which isn't very, very, very good. Again, in the yin yang, there is a dark figure in that we spotted in the formation itself. What was interesting, though, however, that the people that were with me, there's one particular person in question. It's the very end one. One particular person in question completely denied all that the photos don't exist, etc. But they do exist. They're there. So some people just don't want that information to be put out there.
That's interesting, this one. I mean, that does,
it's
it looks more like a figure, doesn't it?
It's a strange-looking figure. You can't put a distinct sort of
almost looks like translucent, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of most bizarre looking thing, and it's there, and And this is our investigation. This is our research. This is the next level of our sort of research. Basically, we want to look into a bit more, but unfortunately, we have to, sort of cross a few barriers. We have to pay a few farmers to be able to, because we believe that obviously you have to create that circle. You have to create that circle for that particular entity to show up. Okay.
Yes.
Not always necessarily, because there was one situation. I didn't include the photo because it is quite a poor photo, but after harvest time, after the yin yang was harvested, then what we saw then was almost like a swirling haze in one specific spot. So the field is now harvested. There's nothing there, but there is still the imprint of the yin yang formation in the field, where the grass starts growing through, etc. And so it shows you that sort of like a ghost. And basically, from that point onwards, this thing just swirls. And in there, quite surprisingly, was what we saw was almost like a grey holding an owl, and that was kind of quite an interesting one, because that was just shortly after the owl formation appeared up in Woodbury Hill. Right. But again, we did take a photo. You have to look hard. But it's not a definitive photo, which obviously I can't shout about. That we really captured something special there. It's there, but
is it this one?
No, it's not. It's not actually.
No, you haven't brought it in. I don't actually
include it because it's very hard. It's on the website. It's on my website, so if people want to. I've actually included a full scale version of it, so people can sort of look at it in detail should they wish to.
Okay. Well, we got 20 minutes till 11 o'clock, which should be on the 3 hours, which is normally where we wrap things up. Should we have a look at your video footage, because this is fascinating stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I like to perhaps talk people through that, because an awful lot of people, obviously have made up their own conclusion by actually seeing it. But I think if actually are given the opportunity to actually describe what actually happened that particular day,
go ahead.
People will actually look at it slightly more differently.
Sure.
I mean, what I can do, if you can actually put a voiceover onto the video with me speaking, then
you want to run the video? Then,
I can actually sort of try and describe the best as I can as it's being played.
We've lost the clip that we brought in earlier on, and if I try to bring it in now, I'm worried that it'll crash the thing. Can we use one of the 4 ones off the net? Because they're in there?
You can do, but the only thing is that's obviously going to take
okay, I'll risk it.
Because you'll have to fast forward, that's the only...
I'll risk going in and doing this then. The website is cropcirclewisdom.com, isn't it?
Cropcirclewisdom.com, yeah.
Yeah. Just calling it up as we speak because we lost that one. Okay, I have to do...
That's the one.
Right, I'll press play, but I should do some things that I'm not prepared to do because it might crash the computer here, so yeah.
Okay, can you pause it for 1 second? On that. About 50 feet, was in the field while this particular orb was hanging above, was floating above. We might have just caught the actual big object.
You've lost us for a second there, which is what I was afraid is going to happen. I'll risk crashing the computer. Oh, it hasn't crashed, right? So let me just set this up with the audio from this channel, which is here. And then I think if I do this, that, and that, we will get audio on the footage. This is why you have to prepare in advance. Right, we'll try this again. Tell me when you want it paused. Now yes, you can hear us now. I'm a bit wary about doing that though.
Okay.
Okay, tell me when you want it paused.
If you can pause.
You lose the audio when you pause it.
All right. Okay, well,
sorry, you can't pause and have audio. It's just a limitation of the program.
Okay.
Okay, carry on then.
On this particular day, we went to photograph the Aztec bird formation below Barbary Castle. Unfortunately, we were restricted by the farmer. The farmer turned up and we're not allowed to go in there. So what happened basically, we went to the very, very, very top of Barbary Castle. There was a point where there was a turning point, and we played our sound sample that I spoke of earlier. After we'd done that, we started travelling down a hill, and we came down, and we'd done about 20 to 30 mile an hour. We're looking for crop circles, basically. What we noticed, first of all, was that a black, if you look to the right of the screen, after this zoomed-in section bypasses, we now moves to the next shot. We saw a quite large black mass object, and when I speak of black, I mean I found out that black was very distinctively black. I mean, it was so jet black that it was visible from almost a mile away, and it was swirling in one direction. It did, and then the swirl changed, and it disappeared. So we all instantly thought it was actually a crop circle was actually being made at that particular time. So what happened then is we stopped. We literally stopped in the middle of the road. Jumped out, we're looking at the, I get my binoculars out, and what you just saw, the object going down, came up. So if you can imagine, we're stopping, we're looking through binoculars, and this object is rising. My instant reaction is, it's a helicopter. I say to Paul Jones, my colleague that was with me, is that it's a helicopter. And Paul looks through through binoculars, and Paul instantly says, that's no helicopter. And that's when everything kind of went a little bit crazy, because we started going for the cameras. We knew that there was something definitely there. We observed the object. The object turned, rotated to us. The big white light in front, sort of beaming, etc. This, as most people probably have experienced in Wiltshire, this big white bright light that's seen very, very frequently. So we can possibly, I'm saying possibly, associate this particular object he's looking at as that's what it may be under other conditions. And so anyway, so while we're observing this object, this craft, whatever it is, it goes down below the horizon. Then at that particular point we think, okay, it's gone. So we switched the cameras off, trying to preserve battery life because we just simply were not prepared for it. It
may have restarted the footage when I pressed a button. It does this. So if it's restarted it, I apologise.
It has. Okay.
Sorry.
So basically, this particular object then disappears out of sight. As I say, it kind of goes down below the horizon, and we. Are we still live?
We are still live.
Okay.
Only jest. I'm. I can fast forward it, but I'm risky.
Well, if it's going to risk it, okay.
Is that about right?
Yeah. So we've seen the bit where it goes down. We've seen the bit where it rotates. So the object, this craft object, etc., disappears on us. We switch the cameras off, thinking that's it. That's gone. Not going to come back again. And literally within sort of 5 minutes, 5 minutes elapses, and the object rises again. So we're obviously stuck now because our batteries are running low on the camera. We didn't come to film. We came to sort of take photographs. So we didn't come prepared. So we're phoning everybody. We're literally frantically phoning everybody, saying, "Look, we need you down here. We want you as kind of extra witnesses. Bring your cameras, etc." And the only person I was able to get hold of was Charles Mallet at the time. And Charles then basically said, "Well, I can't get anybody down to you instantly." But what Charlie suggested was basically say, "Look, why don't you go into the field where you think that object is?" And so this is exactly what I did. Paul is left on the hillside, where Paul is still filming this. As you can see now, I'm actually in the field. And what Paul basically... when I'm in the field itself, I walk past the object. I don't see it. It's not visible to me. I have it in my right hand, what you can see there. I'm actually holding another camcorder, and I'm filming the area at the same time. This object is not visible to me. It's not there. I cannot see it. But yet Paul, on the hillside, can still see me quite clearly, and the object in his viewfinder. So he's still able to record the actual incident. And I'm trying to coordinate myself where I am, but basically because I don't know where it is. So Paul calls me on the mobile phone. He phones me on the mobile phone and tells me, and he guides me back to the position where this object is. And at that particular point, Paul is actually telling me to put my hand up into appropriate position. And the minute I reach the centre of this particular position, then I get like an instant jolt. It's almost as if a bit of like a shock down your arm. If you can imagine banging your elbow, getting dead elbow. It was that kind of feeling. Okay, but this is quite interesting how that could have happened, because the object seems much further away from me than it really is.
Definitely goes behind the hill.
Yeah, it goes behind the horizon.
Yeah.
So it's something I cannot give you an explanation for. I don't know what truly happened at that particular moment. But then what's attracted me most as well, because I cannot see this object, I'm still filming, I'm trying to film the area, there's nothing on the footage of the other footage.
That was a lorry went past.
That was a lorry that just
which gives you an idea of scale, yeah. Yeah,
that was a lorry, because there is like a road just beneath that horizon. But what was quite interesting was the to my right, which you'll see at the very sort of end of the footage, I turn around and look towards the sky. Now at that particular point, what I'm seeing is almost it's like two stripes. So if you imagine you have cloud and there's another stripe, there's a clean cut stripe, as if somebody took a pair of scissors and cut a nice straight line on the top and bottom of this cloud. So the stripe is missing. So this part of the cloud is missing. Then you have a part of the cloud again and another strip, and it's almost a nice straight line. It's almost as if something's there, it's cloaked, I cannot see it. Similar sort of situation with this particular thing. From a short distance, we are not able to see it. Again, it's like when I mentioned about the photographs, if you get too close to whatever's out there, it doesn't allow you to, it either comes out blurry or out of focus. It seems to be that you're only allowed to capture a specific distance only, if that makes sense. It's almost as if they, hang on, you're not quite ready for us yet. You're not quite ready to accept what it is, but we're going to give you a little time. We're going to give you a little glimpse first.
Well, it's very Billy Meyer, except this is video and it lasts a very long time.
How long? Over an hour.
Over an hour.
The whole thing lasted for over an hour, and eventually the object disappears kind of goes slightly from the original position, and it moves into behind some clump of trees, and we just managed to still see it. Monique turned up, a lady, I'm not sure of her surname, I do apologise, I always forget her surname, but there's a lady who visits England quite frequently.
Right.
And she came out with a night shot capability, and this object was no longer there. It kind of disappeared behind the trees, it moved behind the trees, and then it vanished.
Well, I mean, just looking at the motion myself, I mean, I would have agreed with somebody in channel that what you seem to be looking at there is something that may be on a string being pulled vertically up and down and slightly to the side, so it's getting pulled in this direction. Like maybe if you let it go upwards, that the wind would have dragged it one way, so when you pull it, it kind of pulls back in and back out towards that position. That's just my initial reactions, but what do you say with you couldn't see it?
You couldn't see it.
Interesting.
Interesting. This is the whole point of it all, because if I was much closer than to the position where Paul was on the hill. Paul was still looking through it through the camera, through the viewfinder. He could see it. Now I was approximately another mile forward, much closer to where Paul was. So but if you see that object from a distance, from a mile away, you can still see what it is. So if I'm getting a mile closer, that should be much bigger to me and much more visible. But it just wasn't. It just wasn't. There was nothing there.
Potentially, I mean, we just put it forward. Sorry, we've lost the image. If you want to bring up that remote thing that you had there, that was kind of interesting. I'll just put it forward as an idea. But this was sent in by a link in channel from, I think it's the White Room, and it's called a radio-controlled UFO. It's like a little blow-up plastic balloon with radio-controlled electric fans underneath it.
I remember buying one of these once.
But the thing with that is, I would say that it wouldn't be that. Is that this thing would be dancing around all over the sky. I think what you had is something that looked tethered. It could have been one of these type of things. You get a bird scarer or something, but tethered. That's what it kind of looks like. But then
if
again,
you look at the two different footage, as we progress into the footage. I mean, if you look at the original, the first section of it, the object becomes more translucent. Right. Would be fair to say, and it starts to alter shape, doesn't it? I mean, we found that it kind of just wasn't the original shape that it was before.
I'd be very interested to see the original camera tape, because I can
I'm more than happy to provide it for you, Matthew.
I've done a lot of analysis on video stuff in the past, and what I can tell you from it, I will tell you pro and con.
I'd be more than happy to send it to you.
But I think what you got here is a very unusual thing. If we rely on your testimony that that you couldn't see it, because obviously what 100%. Is being seen, by Paul is definitely being seen. You say it wasn't seen, therefore that's kind of interesting. If it was simply on the fact of what you were seeing from a camera on its own, I would have been more inclined to say, it's probably just a balloon or something like that.
Understandable. It's very easy to come to. I mean, looking at that, it's very easy to come to that conclusion. Definitely.
Right.
But it's what surprises us is that fact that I did not see it. I did not see it in that location. I mean, I still have if you're very welcome to analyse the other footage at the same time, Matt. I'm very happy to present that to you. Right. And you can look at my other footage of what I'm taking when I'm stood in the field, and you will see that there is nothing there.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing there on camera.
Well, that could be linked up. Actually, your footage could be linked up as a picture-in-picture with the other camera footage, so you could confirm that it was actually taken at the same time. Yeah, so you could link up what you're doing with your camera positions.
I'm happy to.
And I think that would prove your point, actually, if that's the case, which would be quite interesting then, because if you've got two cameras, it kind of proves it, doesn't it?
We will send you the footage. The original footage were taken.
Brilliant. That would be good.
A complete 1 hour long, and the actual tape as well.
Well, let me take a copy of it, and I wouldn't send it through the post because things go missing, and we'll get arranged for that, because I'd like to see that. Anyway, we've got 26 users in the channel: Alien Dan, Ariadne, RV, Abvaska, Circle Square, Circle Thoughts, Darthy, Gonads, Hedge Dread, Hello Sailor 1, Jezza, Kernow, Monad, Pixdread, Plan 9, Roger CCC, Simon, Sonia, Stuart Dyke, Swim, Tectonic, The White Room, Tommy, Twinkle Toes, and Unix. So well done, all of you. And it says you've got 45 people on watching us at the third hour, which is quite good going because they tend to drop off a little bit. We've got 3 minutes till the turn of the hour. I think we're going to have to continue on a couple of minutes because you have brought something with you that you haven't talked about yet. You've got a board here. What's all this about then?
The famous Eastfield board. That particular night when we had the Lurkley Hill incident,
it's even transparent to the human eye.
Yeah.
Look, you can, yeah.
We kind of suspected that we were diverted away from
the blue
Eastfield.
Screen. So you can see it properly now. Yeah.
So what we kind of then decided to go back to Eastfield, and oh behold, the third part of the formation was complete.
Right.
So then what we find in the centre, I cannot exactly remember which circle it was because it was obviously very dark. There were so many circles there, but it was bang in the very, very centre of the original circle. And this is the actual board that we found. Okay, so it's obviously someone left their trophy behind for somebody to find, and to find it just happens to be me.
Right.
But as Matthew was planning, you can see.
Hang on a second, there's a slight problem with this now. Okay. Right, I'm trying to. My little remote controller got. Oh, there we go. Got jammed in the mechanism of the tripod, so we can zoom in, and the words "wake up" written on it. Oh, what's that?
Crude-looking image. But,
what's that? Looks like a willy with a bit of spunk popping out of it. Oh, we've got some more zoom. Oh, we've got a little demon horns. And is there anything else? And it says reality no. N-O, is that correct?
Is that correct?
Reality no?
Reality no, yes. Correct.
Reality no. Okay, so...
Very interesting what this... I probably wouldn't read that one out. It's the C word at the very top.
Oh, is it? Right, okay. So there's a few things being written on this. Do they look like the writing is from the same person each time? Does it look like it's been added to?
I would assume so. Looking, it's obviously the same... Looks like the same pen has been used throughout as well. So
right, okay.
I guess, of course, but it does. That's how it looks.
Well,
it's even got the grain and some of the mud still in the back of it.
So it looks like it's been used then.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, thanks for showing us that.
A piece of.
And that was from the Eastfield.
Eastfield formation, the long. The three-phase one, basically.
With the writing?
The writing, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, the three-phase one with the scorpion type?
The scorpion
not
type, the sword-looking type one, yeah.
Not the one beneath... I was getting confused with the white horse, then that had the writing in it, yeah, okay. So, yeah, brilliant. Well, somebody's obviously trying to make a statement there of some description. Not quite sure what that is, but...
Can I also, Matthew, very quickly, if I may...
yes, you mentioned about this earlier on.
Just to set some records straight, don't know if anyone's been sort of following some conversations between myself and a gentleman called Red Collie. Sorry, Red Collie, but I have to say this, where I stated that a DNA-type sampling card has been given to me.
Let me just turn off the blue screen effect so we can see this card clearly.
This is FTA classic card. It's called Whatman. Apparently to use to collect DNA, and I was requested to collect DNA samples.
Right.
So somehow...
if you just hold it steady for a second, don't move. There we are.
So somehow I'm kind of supposed to speak to an alien and pull a hair out the head or something like that nature and stick it on this card. Then I was actually requested then to then send it back to Australia through the sort of Australian customs, and which, if this was obviously found, this would be confiscated because obviously with Australia's laws, etc., and they're quite strict.
Biological samples, yes.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, if I obviously took it in myself, then I would obviously stand sort of possibility of fine, arrest, etc., whatever.
Yeah.
But just to confirm, that's the card which was given out by Red Collie to myself, to Cosmic Dave, and Charles Mallet. So rather than trying to deny it, there it is. I mean, this is the one, and the three other people have been given this, and we have witnesses at the same time to say that that this card was seen being passed to us.
Okay,
that's it. I just really wanted to get
that's fine for the record. It's there now, so that it's enclosed in all time now. Somebody called Arvi is very insistent that we ask this question. Andrew, have you ever took video of a crop circle using a thermal camera? Thermal imaging?
No, I don't possess such equipment, unfortunately. I don't have... that type of equipment is highly expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to. If I had the equipment, I'd be more than happy to do that for people, for anybody who wishes to lend it to me, or has one going, want to donate perhaps. Then yes, I'd be more than happy to perform any experiments people may have. People may wish for me to even sort of conduct.
Yeah. I'm just going to type twat into the channel. Yes, but anyway, there we go. Somebody says Collie is ill. Do you know about that?
Collie had, I think Collie had a heart condition of some type.
Oh dear. I hope he gets better. So, yes, thermal cams are very expensive. Unix is commenting on that. You can buy some very cheap ones for cars. They're about, £200-300. They've got the resolution of half an old-fashioned web camera. You can't see anything. They're about 200 pixels across. You'd be lucky if you make anything out from that at all. The expensive ones that are very high resolution, you're talking 20 grand upwards for starter level material. And the stuff the fire services use might be up to £100,000. So, yeah. I don't know anybody who can afford that sort of stuff. Even renting it is not easy.
£500 a week for a very basic one.
Yeah, for a day or a week.
For a week, generally about a week, but they are very, very basic.
Yes,
very basic.
Yeah, the trouble is that you've got to have insurance for this sort of stuff as well. Which ramps up the cost. So yeah, I mean nobody seems to be using that sort of stuff at the moment, but in the future you never know. The prices are going to come down on these things. Right, well, we've covered most of the things that we think we can. Anything else you can think of, Andrew?
Matthew, unfortunately, there is, the list is so long. It's, there are many, many things. Perhaps we can, maybe another time.
When the season's progressing, perhaps.
When the season's progressing, we can cover more into,
give us a progress report, perhaps,
absolutely.
If you want to come back.
Yeah, be more than happy to. But, obviously, time's running on. And
it is indeed. And what I'd like to say is, there was a time that I met Andrew, and he was not very sort of sure about me. I met him when he bought his aircraft, and sadly, I think you've kind of given that up now, haven't you? Because you've got some sort of motion sickness problem with No.
No. It's what we actually found was that the craft was just far too small for me. I'm 6'4".
True.
And
I own the same type of aircraft that you bought.
T600N.
Yes.
And the problem is, it's actually landing the damn thing because you can't see the horizon.
True.
Because the engine's in the way.
Yeah, when you're tall,
you have to crouch and it's not a very
not just landing, but when you're flying along, the bloody engine's in your field of vision. Absolutely. And you're constantly sort of having to duck down and crouch to kind of see if there's any aircraft coming at you.
So if you're 6'4", it's not really an ideal person because you're sat up like this,
right,
and you're scrunched up. So
why did somebody tell me that you weren't getting on with it? You didn't like the flying thing. Is that not right?
No. The thing there was a situation which kind of.
I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
This
is the show where we bring out and ask you,
is
it true?
Very, very, very light aircraft, and when you, as you know yourself, Matt, if you get a bit of thermals,
yes, you get bumped around a bit.
It bumps you around tremendously.
It's a lot better in one of those than in a flex wing microlight, though. One of those triangular things.
I'm sure.
You want to go in one of those, but you will shit them. That's why I got rid of mine. It's scary. Yeah. So.
Well, no. There is. It takes not just a lot of getting used to. Something like that you have to perfect. You have to feel right for it before you attempt anything like that.
Yes. Yeah. You got to feel comfortable.
We used to sort of fly during the winter months where the conditions were not particularly good, and you were considerably cold at the same time. There's no heating in those planes.
Not in those, no.
And when you're -4, up in the sky especially.
So you haven't completely given up the idea of flying, but you have to find a better aircraft and
we'd have to have
better conditions. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. I kind of thought,
I could certainly handle it. I can certainly handle it. It's just obviously, being able to see the horizon so you can make a proper landing.
This is the trouble with crop circles and Chinese whispers. You see, it was put to me that poor Mr. PYRKA didn't really like it. It was a bit mad, and he felt a bit sick. That's not true. You see, this is what happens. This is the type of bollocks that happens.
It's kind of, I mean, the plane's bumping about, so you're not going to feel, do you know what I mean? You're always going to feel a little bit, apprehensive about it, and sort of. Yeah, but
that wasn't. It's obviously not the riding factor here.
The riding factor is the plane was really not suitable.
Yes, there we go.
So,
and I don't think they make planes for big people.
No, not 6'4". No, not small not small sort of 2-seater planes anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
The C-32 is probably much more comfortable, I think.
A little bit. Maybe something like a Eurostar, the one with the dome, but they're really expensive.
Sure.
But
and then, of course, you can't stick your head out the window, take pictures.
Exactly, easily. Yeah. Maybe a RANS. RANS are not too bad, but you need something where you can actually push the seat back, but then you've got the centre of gravity problems. But
it's exhilarating. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
It's, if you got the cash and go out and have a go.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, I diverted from saying that when I met you up at the airfield, we weren't exactly best friends at that point.
No.
And it's interesting that you're here tonight in the studio, and I'm going to do it on camera. So just shake hands.
No.
To show, look,
no hard feelings.
On camera. There you go.
No hard feelings.
This is what can happen.
Understand.
This can happen. You see, people can get on.
You get to a point where you have to look at everybody's sort of info. What you doing here, Matt? You didn't have to do it.
Yes.
I can see. I'm here now. I'm in your environment. I'm in your space. I can see you've taken the trouble to do something like this, and to do it, you have to have an intention, the right intention. Obviously, what you're trying to do is portray the truth, and you've gone to the
betray the truth.
Well, betray. Okay, tell the truth.
Portray.
Not
betray the truth. Sorry, I'm hearing things in my head now. You see,
but it's.
Betray
but
the
you
truth.
have. You didn't need to do this. Yeah, you didn't need to do this.
Yes.
You went ahead. You put it on your own self, and I can see where you're coming from. Because I've worked it out for myself. Okay, you didn't influence me. I got to say to the public that you.
No, I didn't think you were listening to what I was saying at all. You were like, "No, sorry, mate. Sorry, mate. No way."
I regarded you originally as the sort of the real bad guy out in the crop circles. I really did, and that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
I when I saw you, I think I remember at Allington. I was talking to Cosmic Dave. You pulled up.
Right.
In your car, and I thought, oh God, it's Matthew Williams, and I kind of instantly backed off. It was this instant reaction, because the things that people put inside your head about other people, and that's the problem.
It's those reactions, like you said. That night you saw the people making the crop circle, and you just get this sort of thing to go like, oi, oi.
Yeah.
And if you can actually just sort of like hold your breath and think, actually, maybe I'll say hello. I like crop circle makers. You kind of get a different reaction. It's all down to your natural reactions.
It was.
People don't like circle makers at the end of the day. They think, why are we doing it?
Process, Matt.
We must be horrible bastards, because why would we do something to fool people when it's aliens? So therefore we must be bad guys, and then when you're bad guys, you must be hated. And it just all these feelings just follow on from each other. And of course, when you must be hated, then people must make up stories about you to say that you tried to beat them up, which never happened. All that sort of stuff as well.
Certainly, like just sort of on kind of final word. For the people that sort of come to see crop circles, look, they are man-made. Do still come and see them, because it's still special art. It is really special art. You've got to look at it that there is something there. I keep repeating myself. I do apologise, but there is something there. There is something distinctively there. And if you're not coming to look at crop circles, come and stand inside one and observe. Take lots of pictures. I've put a little guide on my website of if you want to capture something, try and follow that, because it seems to work. Okay, so enjoy that aspect of it. Okay, go home, look at your photos and say, wow, I've actually captured something. If you're going to get an experience, at least try and get an experience from that. Okay, but at the end of the day, the crop circles, I'm sorry, they are man-made. It's as plain as that. It's.
I like your story from.
I don't want to use it, but.
No, absolutely. I like your story from earlier on of, you decided to make up your own idea for a way to go out there with the sound thing and do the sound thing and see where it works.
People should experiment.
Experiment with it. You don't have to listen to Matt Williams' way to make a crop circle or how to go out there.
Don't listen to me. Go out at the same time. Don't listen to me at the same time.
Yeah.
But the best thing to do is to go out and if you've got an idea, put that idea into practice. Experiment with it. It's you know, most of the time you can create something, you know, something cheaply perhaps. You don't need big dishes because they're here, and that's
exactly
simple as that.
Making crop circles doesn't require really any money at all. If you're going to do it illegally, that is, which we don't recommend on Circle Makers TV at all. You know, we always pay the farmers, honestly. But if you're going to do it, you know, you don't require a lot of money. And I mean, to go out there and experiment with the paranormal, I mean, it doesn't require any money. Maybe to get to Wiltshire, perhaps, but then you don't have to get to Wiltshire. You could make crop circles where you live, you know, or at least go out into a crop circle and meditate or do some sort of practice that you've made up. And maybe people will find a better way to interface with the paranormal than we. Maybe we're just scratching the surface here because we don't understand what we're doing, and we've not told people that we have the answers to any of this stuff. It's all about people getting out there and finding out for themselves, and I think that's that's where the magic lies. Anybody can do this stuff, you know, and we're nothing special as circle makers, or I'm certainly not. I mean, you know, people look at me after I do the things that I do on the show, and they go, "Matt, you're a very naughty person. You know, we could do with a much better diplomat than you." And
I just wish the researchers out there were a little bit more honest.
So there you go.
Still, you know, create your calendars by all means, you know, but you know, just apply a touch of honesty to it. You know.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. So that should about wrap up the show, I think. That's a good point to stop, and we'll come back with more Andrew PYRKA when the season has commenced, and we will see what he's managed to find, and if he's seen any more circle makers making circles. You never know, he might be invited out. You never know, he might start making them himself, but I'm sure he won't be telling us if he does. That would be wise.
Well, one we have got planned, but that would be legal. That would be legal. That would be 100% legal.
Okay. Yeah. Now, don't forget, the show hasn't quite finished yet, because we have got something else that's coming up, which is very interesting. But unfortunately, Mr. PYRKA does now have to leave us, so he's going to be leaving the studio. And
thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. You know, it's great to have you down. So, and you're welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Okay,
now Mr. PYRKA's got to pop off because you know, some people have to do these sorts of things. Now, the show's going to continue on for about another 5 minutes, but we do have to say goodbye to Mr. PYRKA. I'm very sorry. So if you want, and we're getting people saying thank you in channel as well.
Oh, pleasure.
And yeah, somebody says great show. So you've gone down very well, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of extra viewers on the live stream afterwards. You can watch this show back by clicking on livestream.com/CirclemakersTV or going to our website, which is www.circlemakerstv.org, which we give you here. And you can also well, that's it. You can go to circlespeak.com, which is the DVD, and you can go to, I think this is the website, www.youtube.com/cropcirclewisdom, which you can watch the videos of the little object that was there earlier on. You saw the object flying in the sky that was, some of us referred to as possibly a balloon, but we discussed why maybe it wasn't a balloon. That's there on that site. Also, if you type Crop Circle Wisdom into Facebook, you will be able to access Mr. PYRKA's Facebook site, so you'll be able to make contact with him.
Report a crop circle formation.
It's report a crop circle formation. And also, is it http:/cropcirclewisdom.com?
Yes.
That's you too?
Yep.
Yep, so there you go. So http www.cropcirclewisdom.com. And slashes in there somewhere. You know how it works. I'm sure if you type those things into Google, you'll find them. So, thanks very much. We will
Pleasure.
See you again. So we're losing Mr. PYRKA now. And this is where the show is going to take a very interesting turn, because we've actually got another guest. But we couldn't get this guest in earlier on because of timing things. So we've actually got another guest who's coming in to the show. So we will be with that guest in a short time. But Mr. PYRKA does have to leave us now, I'm afraid. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
So right, they're all leaving now. All their secret party of followers. Actually, that was Mr. Paul Jones who was in the guest seat on the bed earlier on. So he's now gone. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks,
and drive carefully.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So they're off now, and we're just setting the camera up for our next guest, because this next guest, you're going to want to see this next guest. This next guest is absolutely amazing, And he to have this person on the show, I think we're really, really lucky to have this person to agree to come on the show. So, basically, we've had a lot of people saying that, I've been slagging off Michael Glickman in the Crop Circle Connector forum, and saying, like, I'm really taking things down a negative avenue. Let me just fade out the old mic from Mr. PYRKA there, because he's just taking his mic off outside. And, I'm basically, being a bit negative about the whole subject and sort of, it's bad. I was being a bit bad with this stuff, and I've got to admit it, I have actually been a bit bad. But, I'm astoundingly, me and Michael Glickman have now made up. We've made up our differences, and basically, I'd like to welcome into the show, astoundingly, Mr. Michael Glickman. So here we go. Mr. Michael Glickman is in the studio. Here he is. And he's, oh my God, Mr. Glickman, it's an absolute honour. Now, I mean, we'll have to give him a second to sit down because he needs to set himself on the seat. But we're gonna go back to Mr. Glickman in a second and chat to him. He's obviously he's travelled in specially for this, and it's quite amazing that we could get a high prominence guest like Mr. Glickman. This is quite a first, but something's wrong with the camera. A second, hang on. Oh, I know what it is. Just give me 2 seconds. We're just setting up his camera. We don't want this to go wrong because it's so important that we keep a good document of this event. I mean, how many times do you actually get to have somebody like Mr. Glickman in the studio? It's a very unique event, this. So here he is, Mr. Michael Glickman. There we go. Hello, Mr. Glickman. So, well, thanks for coming in. We've obviously have a lot of questions to ask you, but perhaps really we've surprised the audience with your presence. So maybe we should save the bigger questions for another show, perhaps a different show all on its own. Okay. And I mean, what I'd really like to ask you overall is, because we haven't got much time, we're going to be finishing shortly, is, I mean, can you sum up the whole sort of subject in one word? You're saying that the whole thing is a hoax. Right. Well, I mean, what? Everything out there is a hoax, completely?
Everything.
Well, everything, I mean, that might be a bit strong, isn't it, saying that, the complete crop circle phenomena is a hoax. I mean, surely, you can't say everything. I mean, what sort of percentage would you say would be hoaxed?
90.
What, you're saying 90%? I mean, that's higher than Colin Andrews' estimate. Well, thanks for sharing your opinions with us. I mean, obviously, you're a busy man. You can't stay too long. But, I mean, can I just ask you your opinions on people like Francine Blake and Suzanne Taylor or Linda Moulton Howe?
They're just foul and largely dysfunctional liars.
Well, okay. That's... I can't disagree with you there, but I suppose, the same might be true for somebody like Lucy Pringle. I mean, but anyway, have you seen that hair?
That's scary. Yeah,
I got to agree, it does scare me too. I think a lot of people will be surprised to hear your change of heart, Mr. Glickman, that, you're, they're all going to be wondering where's this change of heart come from? I mean, can you explain to me why you've changed your mind? What's made you change your mind?
I seem to have two faces. I have two heads. On the one hand, I'm Doug and Dave, and it all goes back to Doug and Dave. Bang! And I was a goner. Finish. End of story. And then there's the other head, where I'm the Ayatollah. That was my life now. Doug and Dave. And we're dealing with that now, 10 years later. We're absolute crazies. One item of truth about absolute crazies. It was like a virus. Forget it. I was very proud to help hold on to and touch Matt Williams' balls. I thought, here,
you're telling them about our relationship
his
now.
Thing was like a ticking time bomb. Everything to do with the balls, something we can hold on to and touch. And that is for those who haven't got the balls to confront Matt Williams' this thing. And I just got in the car and came down with my youngest son. There's no truth in that even. There's no truth. That's scary.
Well, you've heard it all now. So, well, I better show you the photos of Michael since he's told you about our relationship. So, you know, there's
I was very
there's
proud
me and
to help hold on to
in,
and touch Matt Williams
in my bed, you know, and we have made up. Obviously, as you can see, we're now the best of buddies, and yeah, you know, it's all good. You know, in the crop circle world, everybody has got. We've kissed and made up, and now we're all good friends. So on that bombshell, I think it's time to end the show. And I hope you've enjoyed Crop Circle Makers TV. Mr. Glickman, thank you for coming in, and we hope to see you soon. So I now call him, my friendly name for him is Mr. G-Spot, because he certainly hits the mark, but he never gives me a reach around, I know that much. But okay, thanks for coming on to the show, Mr. Glickman, and be sure to come back soon. So all the best, and we'll catch you later. Take care, Circle Makers and channel alike. Oh, Mr. Glickman. Oh, Mr. G-Spot. Oh, go home. The show has ended.